And we are back here to talk some Oklahoma football recruiting. The Oklahoma Sooners have a commitment potentially coming down the pipeline on Friday. The Oklahoma Sooners did not get good news for an interior defensive lineman that they were pursuing. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to break it down. Before we do that, though, as always, I want to hear from y'all. So join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe button. But the Oklahoma Sooners, we're going to start out with the news that they didn't get, and then we'll move into the potential commitment towards the end of the video. Duce Gerald. You guys remember him, the interior defensive lineman? Announced that he is going to be announcing his commitment on August 2nd, and seemingly put out what looked like a top schools list. Oregon, Michigan, LSU, Ohio State, Ole Miss. And this is the way it's been trending for a while. It felt like Oklahoma maybe had been bowing out of that race. At least that's where the intel had kind of pointed. I talked to a source that said that Oklahoma was still potentially interested, but Oklahoma's got a lot of defensive line targets here in the 26 cycle that they're pursuing. One that maybe isn't necessarily 100% public yet, but is potentially on the board if it ends up coming to fruition. So although Oklahoma is not going to be potentially getting Duce Gerald's, where it really feels like Ohio State is going to potentially be the pick there. Ohio State has been in pursuit of Duce Gerald's for as long as I can remember in this class. Oklahoma still has a couple targets left on the board that I think they have a chance of going out there and landing. One of them is Elijah Golden, the 6'4", 270-pound defensive lineman, who's the 107th ranked player according to the 247 composite rankings. If you're not familiar with Elijah Golden, this recruitment's been a little weird and funky. Elijah Golden, originally a lot of people, the intel was pointing him going to Notre Dame. But as of recently talking to a source, it feels like maybe Oklahoma has started to maybe pick up some slow steam again there and might be inching back into that race. Now, obviously, I think today, if you had to ask me, the pick is probably still Notre Dame. But Oklahoma, Virginia Tech, Alabama, they're all vying for his commitment as well. And this is one where Oklahoma would definitely like to go out there and get him. Another name that was thrown out to me the other day by somebody else that I was talking to was Tufana. And I'm going to be honest, I can't say the rest of the name. It's like Umu Kais. He's out of Inglewood, California at Cherry Creek High School. 6'3", 307 pounds, a 4-star interior defensive lineman. You got UCLA in the mix there. Washington, Colorado, and obviously Oklahoma definitely loves what they see from him and his size and his frame. Really strong, athletic kid. You go watch his film. This is the dude that can be a bully on the defensive side of the ball. So Oklahoma hasn't necessarily gotten him on campus for an official visit, but I would be curious to see where Oklahoma goes in that recruitment, especially maybe if they land or miss out on like an Elijah Golden and Duce Gerald's. Maybe they, start looking down at some of these targets a little bit lower. Additionally, you've also got T-Ron Richardson, the 6'3", 295-pound defensive lineman out of Hopewell, Virginia. Now, if Virginia Tech, which it seems like they are going to lose on Elijah Golden, I would imagine they're going to go all in for a guy like T-Ron, trying to keep him close to home where he's out of Hopewell, Virginia. And, Oklahoma, I did think definitely wants him, but I don't think this is a recruitment that you're just going to go pay top tier money for. So interesting thing, we'll have to watch the T-Ron Richardson recruitment. You've also got schools like Syracuse up there. You've got Penn State, South Carolina. So that is not a gimme recruitment for Oklahoma at all. You're going to have to go up against some SEC schools, some Big Ten schools, and an ACC school. Yeah, it's not going to be that easy. But then you can go down a little bit farther on the board for Oklahoma. And one of the targets that I've talked about before in this podcast, one that I really like, is Joseph Terry, the 6'4", 315-pound defensive lineman out of San Juan, California. Now, Joseph Terry has been to Oklahoma a couple times, camped with Oklahoma last year, performed really well at the camp. You really liked what you saw from him. Another kid with a great frame, great size, a really, strong kid, able to, again, kind of bully the offensive lineman. Not a highly recruited kid. Got a total of 23 offers. Florida State's probably his best offer. And I would imagine, if Oklahoma doesn't circle back around quickly, Florida State's probably going to be the pickup there. But I do know that Oklahoma is high on his list. And I would imagine if Oklahoma invited him up for an official visit, I think there is a chance that they could shut it down on Joseph Terry and get him to commit. But all of this in saying this, although Oklahoma did not get good news when it comes to Duce Gerald's, because Duce Gerald's is seemingly look like he's going to go somewhere else. Looks like Ohio State. Obviously, it feels like Oklahoma has bowed out of the Valdez-Sone race, as that looks like Georgia's potentially going to win that recruitment. And then you've got Auburn, Nebraska, Florida there too. So that's going to be a heavy NIL recruitment. Oklahoma still has quite a few targets on the board. So I don't think it's time to panic with Todd Bates just yet. And there's still other prospects that they could go out there and offer. You were keeping our eyes on a couple of guys. So if you're an Oklahoma Sooner fan, just be patient. It will come. But Duce Gerald's didn't put Oklahoma in that top schools list, announcing his decision on August 2nd. But the question is, who could Oklahoma be potentially getting here in a couple days? Well, Jordan Clay, if you guys remember that name, 4-star wide receiver out of the state of Texas, a top 100 player. I think he's like the number 85 player in the entire country. He's going to be announcing his decision on July 11th. And this has been an Oklahoma-Baylor battle for quite a while now. And a lot of people, I think, would still favor Baylor, but I'm hearing mixed reviews on that. Talking to sources, it seems like Oklahoma still has a puncher's chance here in the Jordan Clay recruitment. For Baylor and Oklahoma, you're going after Jordan Clay. You're both going after Davian Gross. I've heard a lot of people saying they're going to split. I definitely think Oklahoma has a better chance of landing both than not landing either of them, because they sit in a really good spot for Davian Gross. And if you've listened to this podcast many times, you guys will hear me say, I think Oklahoma leads in that recruitment. So Jordan Clay announcing on July 11th would be absolutely huge for Oklahoma, because right now your wide receiver recruiting here in the 26 class hasn't been great. So Jordan Clay loves him some Emma Jones, and being at a 6'3", 200 pounds, this answers a huge need for Oklahoma. I'm not sure how big of an answer he is for Baylor's offense, but I know for Oklahoma, you're going to have to replace a couple of wide receivers. You definitely wanted to go out there and try to recruit some size in that room after what happened last season, and understanding you got a bunch of really small guys currently on the roster. I think Oklahoma fits the mold best for Jordan Clay. And this past season for Jordan Clay, 41 receptions, 900 receiving yards, 5 total receiving touchdowns. In his career, 24 receiving total touchdowns, over 2,300 yards with 108 receptions. So Jordan Clay, a phenomenal wide receiver all the way around. Great size, great frame. When you watch him, he's able to utilize that body and that frame to leverage himself over the corners and get behind the safeties to make that catch. So that's kind of what Oklahoma's looking at right now in terms of recruiting. Nothing too extravagant, but I definitely think there are a couple targets still on Oklahoma's board that you can see drop. July is still going to be a big month for Oklahoma. I think you're going to see probably 3 or 4 dudes that you didn't expect to announce in Oklahoma's favor announce that they're going to commit to the Oklahoma. So jump in the comments below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like and you hit that subscribe button.